Welcome back to another episode of Last Boy Scouts Survival and Bushcraft. Today, I'm going to show you how to make these little guys I call ghoulies. Elsewhere you look, you might find these things called parabuddies. Whatever. So stick around. You're going to learn something. Now, some of you may be thinking, Scotty, what the hell is a ghoulie?
What's the problem?
Well, these are just little paracord figurines that you can make utilizing some sort of bead and paracord, and you can put them on your backpack zippers, your keychains, make earrings out of them, whatever the hell you want to do with them. But they're cool little Tacti-Crafts that you can do with your kids, with your family, or on your own. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
So anyways, let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
Things that you need in order to make these. First, good reliable paracord. For that, I use Atwood rope MFG. Check out the description box. I'll put a special link in there for you so you can get access and a discount for your own. You're also going to need a lighter, a cutting tool, something to measure the length of the cordage that you need, and lastly, beads. The beads that I use for this project, I purchased on the Amazons. You know, all they are is tiny little skulls of various colors. Now, you can also go on there and look at different types of beads. I've seen people buy samurai head beads, ninja head beads, Spartan head beads. You're gonna find something that you like. But I'm going to also put a link in the description box for the very specific beads that I purchased for this project. Step 1. We're gonna measure 8 inches.
That's what she said.
That's my joke. Damn it, Dwight.
After you slice your first 8 inches, you're gonna set that aside and measure another 24 inches. In order for you to be able to tie this correctly and get the bead on your paracord, you're gonna have to pull the guts out of your 24-inch strand of paracord. But don't discard the guts, because you're gonna need at least one strand to help you get the bead on. Bring the two ends together, you're gonna make a loop. Then you're gonna take that extra one piece of the guts, and you're gonna thread it through that loop. So it's gonna look like this, loop on loop. Bring the two ends together, and what you're gonna do, you're gonna slide this through your bead. And so you can pull your paracord through that bead. Now, if you had the guts in there, you wouldn't be able to do that unless you purchased a different size bead than this one with a wider hole. for the head to fit through.
That's what she said.
So this is how you're going to start it off, with a little loop, as bigger and as small as you want. What I typically do is take one that I previously made for reference, line it up, good. As far as your 8-inch piece of paracord, you can leave the strands in there, or you can move them if you want. For this, I'm just going to leave them in there. Now what you're going to do, first and foremost, is you're going to make a snake knot. So I'm going to change the angle of the camera so you can see the knot as I tie it. All right, let's not overcomplicate things. Snake knot's fairly easy. What you're going to do, you got your right side and your left side of the skull, right? You're going to take your left side, go underneath it, right? Creating a loop and a running end that kind of sticks out, right? So now you're going to take your second running end, go underneath that running end, loop it around, right? And go through that hole. So now you got two loops that kind of go into each other, right? But don't tighten it yet, because what you're gonna do before you cinch that down is you're gonna take this bad boy, which is going to be the arms of your ghoulie, right? Go underneath the loop back around the back side of the head, and you're gonna run one portion through that loop and the other portion through that loop, right? Kind of make sure it's somewhat even, and then you're gonna cinch it down. So kind of carefully do, cinch it down. What I like to do is take the arms and fold them back with the other loop, kind of trying to maintain the length equal, right? And out of the way. Okay, so once that first part's done, you're gonna continue to make 3 more snake knots, the same exact way that we just did it, right? You're gonna go right over left underneath, loop, left under right, and then through that loop, and then cinch it down without going all cockeyed with it. Now, one thing I'll say is, depending on the type of paracord that you use, some of it is kind of flimsy and not as high quality. And then you get something like this Atwood rope MFG, which the outer shell of the cordage, it's really firm and durable, and that's how you know it's a good cordage, right? Whereas the black paracord that I used, and it could also have to do with the age of the paracord. I've had this one for a significant amount of time. The outer casing of the guts, it's you could feel it's a lot thinner and not as high a quality. And yes, the quality of the paracord is going to make the difference in your crafts, because if you're to compare the quality of the cordage from one to the other, you can see the definition of your knots significantly better, whereas this is more thin and flimsy because the quality of the paracord isn't as great. Anywho, right? That's one snake knot. I'm gonna go ahead and do it quickly 2 more times. All right, and as always, whenever you're doing your knots, you always want to make sure you dress them up, especially with the snake knot. because you can end up cinching it down and creating gaps in between your knots. So if you can't tell already, the reason why this is called a snake knot is because it resembles the scales on a snake once the pattern forms as you tie more and more knots to the end. This is a common knot that is used to make lanyards for knives and other crafts in bushcraft and survival for your gear. All right, as you can see, we're almost there, but not quite. We still have to adjust the arms and the legs to the proper size, and all we're gonna do is tie 4 overhand knots, 1 on each limb. We're gonna cut the cordage to the appropriate size, and then we're gonna take our lighter and we're just going to singe the ends and then we'll be done. All right, let's speed it up. All right, folks, and there you have it, your Paracord Ghoulie. If you have any questions about the techniques, the knots, the gear, anything, feel free to drop me a comment in the comment section, and I'll be happy to answer any of those questions. Also, similar techniques can be used with these same beads I purchased to make yourself a set of ranger beads for pace counting when you're doing your land navigation. Take a look at this video for a quick how-to on how to make your own ranger beads. All right, so that's gonna do it for this week's episode of The Last Boy Scouts Survival and Bushcraft. If you like what you see, please hit that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned for more of The Last Boy Scouts Survival and Bushcraft. And as always, stay safe, stay vigilant. Knowledge is your weapon. Be prepared.